We got the bait. Yeah, I have worms on me. Hilarious.
If you got worms, that's a problem.
Well, I got worms for everyone, so.
I don't want your worms either.
Then you can't have any worms.
Before we finish, can I get everyone's picture in front of the lake?
No.
Can we do a picture here?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following Sister Wives this season, then you already know we're in the middle of some of the most emotional and heartbreaking moments we've ever seen on this show. Today we're diving into Season 19, Episode 26, and honestly it's one of the heaviest episodes yet. The grief, the regret, the distance, it's all bubbling up now and the family is struggling to keep it together. This episode really focuses on how the Brown family is dealing with life after Garrison's funeral. And let me tell you, the mood is completely different now. You can feel the weight in every word, every pause. Everyone is trying to figure out how to move forward, but it's clear that there's no easy path. The silence between certain family members speaks volumes. They're not just grieving the loss of Garrison, they're also grieving the loss of connection with each other. Kody, for the first time in a long time, looks completely broken. He's not defensive or angry, he's quiet. Hollow almost. There's a scene where he's alone, talking about how he wished he had reached out to Garrison sooner. He admits that pride kept him from calling, that he told himself he was waiting for the right time. But the truth is, he was avoiding the pain, and now that chance is gone. You can hear the regret in his voice. It's not performative. It's raw. He even breaks down at one point, saying that the father he was supposed to be died with Garrison. That line, it stays with you. Janelle is trying so hard to hold herself together, but you can see it in her eyes. She's exhausted. She says she still talks to Garrison like he's in the room. She tells him things. She laughs sometimes, but then she remembers he's gone, and it's like the air gets sucked out of her lungs. She also gets very honest about how angry she still is at Kody. Not screaming angry, but deeply disappointed. She says she asked him so many times to talk to Garrison, to fix things before it was too late. And now she's left picking up the pieces. Robyn is emotional too, but her focus is mostly on Kody. She's trying to comfort him, trying to understand him, but it's like she's realizing just how far the divide has grown between them and the rest of the family. She mentions how isolated she feels now, and even though she doesn't say it out loud, you can tell she's starting to question if holding on so tightly to Kody cost her something with the other kids. Christine doesn't appear much in this part of the episode, but when she does, she drops some real truth. She says she saw this coming, not Garrison's death, but the emotional collapse of the family. She says she left because she couldn't watch her kids be emotionally neglected anymore. And now, seeing Janelle and her boys hurting like this, it's like she's reliving her own pain all over again. Meri is surprisingly calm in this episode. She's quiet but not detached. She listens more than she talks, and when she does speak, it's clear she's doing a lot of internal processing. There's a moment where she says that grief has a way of burning everything down, but sometimes what's left after the fire is the truth. And honestly, that sums up this whole episode. This first half really sets the tone. It's about emotional reckoning. The kind that doesn't happen in a single conversation or a dramatic fight. It happens in the quiet moments, the silences, the looks, the what-ifs. And as the family tries to navigate their new reality, we're left wondering if any of them can truly come back from this. We see Janelle sit down with Logan and Madison, and it's one of the most emotional scenes in the entire episode. They're sitting at the kitchen table, and for a few seconds, nobody speaks. And then Janelle breaks the silence by saying, "I don't know how to be the strong one anymore." Logan takes her hand, and it's this tender moment where the roles reverse. He becomes the support she always was for everyone else. Madison chimes in, saying that the family has to stop pretending everything can go back to normal. And she's right. There's no going back from this. Then we shift to a moment that honestly caught me off guard. Kody visiting Gabe. And it's not dramatic or explosive. If anything, it's painfully awkward at first. Gabe opens the door and looks at his father like a stranger. He doesn't invite him in right away. Kody stands there, fumbling for words, apologizing in fragments, and Gabe just stands there with tears in his eyes, not saying anything. Finally he asks, "Why now?" And that question lingers. Kody tries to explain. He says he's sorry. He says he made mistakes. He says he thought he was doing the right thing at the time. But Gabe doesn't let him off easy. He tells him, "I needed you when Garrison was hurting. We both needed you, but you chose to disappear." It's one of those moments where the hurt is so thick, it's hard to even breathe watching it. Kody's eyes well up. Gabe walks away, and Kody's left standing there in silence. It's not resolution, but it's real, and that makes it even more heartbreaking. Meanwhile, Christine is back on camera in this part, and she's not holding back. She says something that hit me hard. We built this family on the idea of unity. But what do you do when unity becomes silence? When no one speaks because speaking the truth would break everything apart. She's clearly heartbroken for Janelle and the boys. She's still mourning Garrison, and now she's watching the rest of the family fall apart in the aftermath. And then there's this really raw, unexpected moment between Meri and Robyn. They're not arguing, they're not fighting, they're just sitting together, both crying quietly. Meri tells Robyn that for all the pain she's felt from being pushed out, she never wanted the family to suffer like this. And Robyn, through tears, admits that she's scared. She says she doesn't know who she is outside of this family. And you can see it, that fear of isolation, of realizing that holding on so tightly to one person might have cost her everything else. But the real gut punch moment, that comes at the very end of the episode. There's a voiceover montage where we hear the kids, some of them who haven't appeared much this season, talking about Garrison. Photos play over their words. There's laughter, memories, and then silence. Janelle's voice closes it out. I hope we never forget how much he tried to love this family, even when it didn't love him back. And that right there, that line stayed with me long after the credits rolled. This episode isn't just about grief, it's about accountability. It's about what happens when years of emotional neglect come crashing down. It's about facing the consequences of inaction. Every character is feeling the weight of what they didn't say, what they didn't do, and what they can never get back. What really stands out in this episode is how the Brown family begins to confront the reality that healing won't be easy or instant. We see cracks that have been there for years starting to surface more openly, old wounds, unspoken resentments, and the deep grief that still lingers from recent losses. It's clear that everyone is carrying so much pain, and that pain is affecting how they communicate, how they trust each other, and how they even view their own roles within the family. One of the most striking moments is when Kody tries to take a step back from being the leader and starts to listen more. It's painful for him because that role has defined so much of his identity for years. But what we see here is a man slowly realizing that leadership isn't about control or being right. It's about vulnerability, honesty, and sometimes admitting failure. That's a powerful shift because it sets the stage for possible reconciliation, even if it feels fragile right now. We also see the wives wrestling with their own feelings, resentment, confusion, and sadness, but also moments of hope. Robyn, Christine, Janelle, and Meri each bring their own perspective on what it means to keep the family together. They're questioning what the future looks like and whether they can find common ground again. It's raw and real. The tension between them isn't just about past hurts, but about whether they can trust that things will be different going forward. The episode doesn't shy away from showing how the kids are caught in the middle of all this. Their pain and distance from Kody and each other are heartbreaking. We get a glimpse of the younger generation's struggle to make sense of the family's changes, and how that struggle impacts their own identity and relationships. It's a reminder that what happens in the family doesn't just affect the adults, it shapes the kids' lives too. What's important here is the theme of communication, or the lack of it. The episode highlights how much damage silence and avoidance can do. There are conversations that need to happen but haven't yet, and the absence of those talks keeps everyone stuck in old patterns of misunderstanding. But there's also a tentative willingness to try. You can see it in the pauses, the hesitant questions, the small gestures that say, "I want to understand but I'm scared." Another big takeaway is the acknowledgement of grief and loss, not just the loss of Garrison, but the loss of what the family once was. That collective mourning adds a layer of complexity to their efforts to reconnect. It's not just about fixing disagreements, it's about navigating a new reality shaped by sorrow and change. This episode captures that beautifully, showing us how grief can both divide and unite. By the end, there's a sense that while the road ahead is uncertain, the Brown family is at least starting to face their problems head-on. No more pretending everything is fine. No more sweeping issues under the rug. They're beginning to lay the groundwork for rebuilding, not a perfect family but one that's more honest and perhaps more compassionate. For viewers, this episode feels like a turning point. It's the moment when you realize that the story isn't just about drama or conflict, it's about real people trying to hold on to something fragile and important. And it leaves you hoping that whatever comes next, the Browns will find a way to heal, even if it's one small step at a time.